Okay, welcome to the Ronny Trost Underwater Treasure Hunting in Florida series, Season 1, Episode 1. Now, I've been studying sunken treasures for a few years now. But I see shows on TV like The Curse of Oak Island, and I think I could make a reality show where you just follow me along from step 1 to the final step of pulling tons of gold out of the bottom of the ocean. So let's get started with unearthing, salvaging sunken treasures of gold and silver and things like that. To understand where shipwrecks are, we need to do a little studying of the history. Now, I know a lot of people have said that they navigated by stars and sextants and all of this stuff, but that's not true. They would just get lost if they tried to do that back in the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s. The way that they navigated was by sighting land with the compass. So I've never used this before, so bear with me. So there was the English who sent out ships. France sent out ships. Spain, of course, sent out ships. Portugal sent out ships. Okay, now to get to the New World, the first place that they would do would be, I don't know how to turn this off. Save. Okay, they would sight the Canary Islands. So they're sailing from up here. Go back to draw a line, and we're going to sight the Canary Islands. Okay. So, at which point we are going to sail to Martinique or Guadeloupe. Okay, so then they would go south of Cuba. Let's see, draw a line. So we could go here, here, and then this is the Yucatan Peninsula, and I'll do some things over here. pick up some gold or whatever, you know, doing, this is where the mines were, that they were taking it from the mines, and the Mayans and the Aztecs and things like that. Now, I could talk about trade routes from China would come over here, just do like a little trade routes from China thing there. Okay, so then they could like trade in various countries, and they would head up to Pensacola. Alright, and the thing you have to remember is it doesn't seem to make sense, but the winds that would blow the sails, you have two things. You have winds and you have currents. And in order to sail like this, you have to kind of go with the current and kind of against the wind. You have to kind of learn about sailing to understand what I'm saying. But so basically, the gold was full in various places, and some trading went on with the Chinese and other countries. On the ship, you would have porcelain, like dinnerware or whatever, maybe bottles of wine and things that actually came from Mexico. I don't know why I said Mexico. It came from China. Okay, this is a China trade route. So this ship is full now. It's full of gold and Chinese things, silks, spices, coins, silver coins, and all this. Now it's a treasure ship. So it goes up here, and it's going to follow. Remember, they have to see land to follow. So it's going to follow the Florida coastline to the Keys. Okay. And Havana, Cuba. Okay. Like almost every ship had to stop at Havana, Cuba. So when we take a look here, you see there's a port there. You see that? Nice little port. Okay, so Cartagena would be a spot where they would have a full ship, and they would be trying to get to Havana to start going back to Spain. So the way they navigate it, there's two coral reefs out here. One is Serenilla, the Serenilla Bank, okay. So you can mark that. And the other is the Pedro Bank. And you can mark that. Add the map. Okay, so I kind of marked them a couple of times and then Google. So to get to Havana, they have to go across these coral reefs. And the way, instead of going right in the middle, because then you wouldn't know where you were at, you have to go towards one or the other. And then when you see land, then you turn back the other way. Or you see it and then you stay away from it. So they have to sail between these two coral reefs. So this is an area here where you will have a lot of shipwrecks. Okay, right here in these coral reefs. And then they would go through there and sight the Cayman Islands. Okay. Then they would finally get to hug the coast of Cuba and then come around to Havana. So, you know, something like that. All right. Now, then again, they have to go through the Keys. So I'll show you on the way to the Keys. There's a, in between, this is the Dry Tortugas National Park, and this is the Keys, Key West. This is a continental shelf, which means it's shallow and then it just drops off and goes deep real fast. But then there's coral reefs. And so on the way back, full of gold and all kinds of treasure, they run into the coral reef. This is a map of where the treasure was found. Let's see. So here you have the Dry Tortugas, the Marquesas Keys, and Key West. So you see it's almost, I don't know, 2/3 to the Dry Tortugas from Key West. Okay. Okay, so now it's time to finish our trip back to Spain. Having gone through the Keys, we now, as Spanish sailors, we would follow the coast of Florida so we don't get lost. Until we get to Port Canaveral. Port Canaveral was one of the few ports that were made the line too long there. Port Canaveral here is one of the few ports that was operating back in those days. So once we have, I don't know what would be their landmark, but they knew when they had got to the Port Canaveral, they would then sight that and head for Bermuda, so we could take, in general, Port Canaveral and head for Bermuda, which I don't know, maybe they used northeast on the compass to find Bermuda. And from Bermuda, they would look for the Azores, okay, we have the Azores, and you see how it's a straight shot. I mean, you also have to remember that there were currents in the water that also gave them the energy, I guess you would say. And then from there, back to their respective country, whichever that might be. Okay, so that finishes the trip. Just wanted to finish that for you. So then there's a big treasure ship wreck here at VERO Beach, which you'll see in the Lost Kingdom of the Pirates. And so they got hit by a hurricane and crashed here at VERO Beach. And so that's our two shipwrecks that we know of here in Florida. The one at the Keys, and the one at VERO Beach. And now they were also doing some things over here, but I'm not going to get into all that because I'm not planning on traveling there anytime soon. I would be more inclined to travel here in the nice tropical island over here, close to home. But anyway, there's your route. If you watched The Lost Kingdom of the Pirates, the pirates had a city in Nassau. Okay. So here we see Nassau. Now this was a pirate city back then. So this might be an area where you might find some gold coins. I mean, I'm sure it's been looked over fairly well. But maybe some shipwrecks in the port. See, you got a lot of area around here where the ships could come in and dock and port. So that might be an area where you might find treasure, pirate treasure. Then they docked here in Havana, Cuba. Okay, see this nice little port there for them to dock. This might be an area where you could find treasure. Okay. Then they would come over to, you know, places, all of this stuff is where they would mine gold and trade. Here's melfisher.com. This is the guy who was involved. Him and his family were involved in both large treasure hunts, treasure discoveries. So you can go to his website and you could read, there's museums, just coins from the treasure. So anyway, the original guy, Mel Fisher, died, and his family took over the business, and then they sold it to somebody else, and it's just legal things you'll have to figure out. So Lost Kingdom of the Pirates, we learned that there's a huge. So let me just give you a quick. Basically, there was 11 ships, treasure ships, parked here near Vero Beach, which is also like the best surfing spot in Florida, just so happened to coincidentally. And they all got hit by a hurricane. They are all destroyed. Okay. And gold was found all along here, which is why they put the museum it's like called the Survivors But anyway, you could find you see how everything's Treasure Coast. It's like Treasure Elementary School, Treasure this, Treasure that, because this is where, I guess out here or in here somewhere, so if you type in here McLarty Museum. Okay, so this is where I went, and afterwards I went metal detecting here on the beach. And also, the week later, I went up here, to this Spessard. I went here, treasure hunted along this beach. Okay. Now, There was a huge treasure found right here. So I went to this museum. But there's also a Mel Fisher museum because he was involved. So here's a Mel Fisher treasure. Sebastian Inlet here is where the surfers go. So there's Sebastian Inlet Park where you can surf, and then there's Mel Fisher Museum. Okay. And so all of this area is, see, here's VERO Beach. Is the spot where the treasures are found. Okay, so let's back out of that. Now, you see that? So that's like an hour and a half drive from my house to there. But Mel Fisher also found another big treasure. This treasure is worth today's value is worth close to $1 billion, and it is in between. So here's let me show you. Now we're building a high-speed train from Orlando Airport to Miami. That's normally a 4.5 hour drive, but you're going to have to check all the laws in the various countries of whether you can treasure hunt there, or, you know, is it legal, is it not legal, who gets the money, and things like that. Okay, so you also have the cost of the boat, you know, fuel for the boat. You have to hire employees to work on the boat, scuba divers. You know, it's a business. So you need a business investment. You need business investors. So that's what I'm saying. I need business investors. And when the gold is found, we can split the money up. We're getting ready to pull into the McLarty Treasure Museum for the first time. Oh man, but I love to live right here. Go out every day with the metal detector and find me some gold doubloons. I don't know where it's at. I think I might have passed it up. Let's see if there's a sign. Oh, what's that? Sebastian Inlet State Park. And there it is. The McLarty Treasure Museum. Oh, this is where you learn, people. This is where you learn what it's all about. Now, I'd like to find a shady place to park, but I don't see one. Let's see, what do they got? This place is not too big. Maybe if we go down this road. We are very near the beach too. Wow. Back in hundreds and hundreds of years ago, they crashed gold, just tons, and I mean literally tons of gold coins all over this beach. It's just unbelievable that I'm here right now. Ooh, there's a little bit of shade right there. I like to get my engine cooled off after that hour and 40-minute drive from Orlando. So it looks like we go in a loop, and I'm going to, oh, we got some people out here. I'm going to try to find a shady place again, which I don't see one. So I'm just gonna take that one spot that had a little bit of shade on it as my refuge from the long drive. Some truck, and right here. This is, ooh, I got the engine in the shade. Nice. All right, going in now. This is the old classic Ford Thunderbird, supercharged, 6-cylinder that made it the journey.
Mandir bajoy nyangilano khalado fi jaru dañu xamune yalla bo.
You have to come here and see this place. It's amazing treasures. Look at Shores Park, Indian River County. This is pretty much where they found all the shipwreck, 11 shipwrecks. And so we're at the beach. I'm gonna eat lunch, and then I'm gonna get out the metal detector and see what we can find. No pets, glass, fishing, boating, surfing, alcohol, or scuba diving. Doesn't say no metal detector. I'm gonna find me some gold. There you have it. Right off these waters, they found millions, billions of dollars and tons of gold. Shipwrecks still out there waiting to be brought up by the Ronny Trost podcast treasure hunting company. But first, since there's no lifeguard on duty, swim at your own risk, I'm gonna sit in the shade and eat my lunch. My salad is the first thing on the list. And then we're gonna try to find some gold. Hello, out here on the beach. Just got started. Found some weird little computer chip. But right here, yeah, this is the spot. This beach here. This is where 11 huge Spanish treasure ships crashed onto the coast. So lots of coins have been found. This is my kit. I have a rather expensive scooper, stainless steel, carbon fiber. I don't know what they call them, sifter, scooper. But if you get something cheap, the salt water will just ruin it. It'll corrode the metal. The AS2, nice, got the pointer. You turn it on, it goes straight to the wireless headphones. So, I'll be out here for a couple hours. This kind of solves multitasking. You know, been driving a taxi all week. Get out, get some exercise, get some sun, have some fun, find something or not. The thrill is in the hunt. But yeah, it's beautiful out here. Heading home from the beach. The park closes at sunset. I got out of there just in time. It is sunset, heading back to Orlando. Treasure hunting all day long.